Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. Thank you guys for joining us. We always kind of give everyone a couple minutes to get in. So we usually start at 10:05. Just ask that you kind of keep your phones muted or computers muted. And if you just have any questions, throw them in the chat message. Where are you guys zooming in from, Caesar and Loretta?
Hey, good morning, everyone. Here's Caesar from Chicago.
Chicago. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining. And yeah, like I said, I'm going to put you back on mute, but if you have any other specific questions, you can type anything in the chat. My name's Jonathan Clem. I'm one of the founders here at Quality Builders. I'm excited today. I got up on time. I got my workout in this morning. We got my other partner, Deb, on site getting ready to show us one of our projects. All right, good morning, and give everyone a little bit more time to keep coming in. If you don't mind throwing in the chat where you guys are coming in from, I'd appreciate it so I know where you're at. Caesar's here in Chicago. I'm in Logan Square here at Armitage and Western. But yeah, let us know where you're zooming in from. And we'll get started in just a minute or two. Oh, right here in the South Loop. South Loop, okay. I like the South Loop, actually. I have a building, or I have a condo right there at right by McCormick Place, which is a crazy story, to be honest. If I want to go off on a super tangent, I actually it was an investment property, and we got evicted, or tried, we had to go to eviction court because there was actually two HOA fees, which is just crazy in itself. And we didn't know about one of them and had to end up paying, or had to ended up paying, yeah, attorney costs and HOA dues of like $8,000. So something insane. So that was not a happy day for me and my partner. But still a nice little unit. It's a one bed, one bath. Right there at Eastgate is the street it's off of. So we're gonna give everyone a couple more minutes. Like I said, let us know where you're tuning in from, how your Saturday is going. What if you got any other plans today? I'm actually gonna go do a little stair hiking at Palos Park, I think it's called. All right. Go for a walk with the family. Ooh, Pilsen, Andersonville. All right, we got some people in the chat. Thank you for not making me talk to myself. I appreciate it. I like Pilsen and I like Andersonville, both great places to buy property. I'm not a green thumb myself, so gardening is not my thing. I was just trying to get our Facebook Live working, but it's giving me some problems for some reason. Anyone else got anything fun they're doing today? It's Saturday. It's a beautiful day, one of the nicest days we've had in Chicago. All right. Well, anyways, we'll go ahead and get started. Like I said earlier, my name is Jonathan, one of the founders here at Quality Builders. So we always like to set up these walkthroughs to give everyone an idea of how we are doing our renovations and really to give you guys some more insights on some of the details and things, lessons learned that we have on our projects. Um, we also have another group called the Chicago Quality Investors, which is our Facebook group, and we do an in-person meetup on the third Saturday of every month. So that's one of the best things I've found to really boost my networking and getting in contact with the right people. You know, your net worth is your network. And I just found as I got around more and more people investing in real estate and doing renovations that everything started to get easier and easier. And I got connected with the right people who are doing the right things. So we just want to continue to be able to educate you guys here on what we're doing, be able to help you. So if you guys have any questions, throw them in the chat. It's the easiest way for me and Deb to kind of go through your questions. I'm always super, super grateful for you guys who are getting up on a Saturday morning, zooming in and checking out what we're doing. It just shows that, you know, you're trying to get out of your normal routine and grow a little bit outside of what you're normally doing. At least for me, that's how I feel. One of the other things we're always trying to promote is giving back. And so we always throw up our QR code for the Boys and Girls Club of Chicago. I'm actually a board member for the True Value Club, and I've attended their Youth of the Year program the last 2 years. And so, yeah, if you can give them any type of donation, everything goes directly to their Youth of the Year program. It comes up in October. And basically, there's 3 candidates from the actual True Value Club, and they actually go and give a presentation in front of like 250 people. And then from there, they go on to present actually at Navy Pier in front of probably, I don't know, 1,000 people. And yeah, the winners get scholarships. A really cool program. So if you guys don't mind or have the ability to give back, we really appreciate it. I've found it to be a blessing in my life the more I've been able to give, because I used to be someone who's a very, very tight, stingy person and unwilling to give any money. And then all of a sudden I started giving more money, and it seemed like more money started coming my way. So it sounds counterintuitive, but it's honestly one of the best things that happened to me. My partner, Dev, is there on site. Dev, you want to come on video really quick and give yourself a little introduction?
Hey guys, I'm Dev. I'm the project manager for this project, and I work with Quality Builder, handling a lot of the on-site stuff here. So, kind of like Jonathan mentioned, really grateful that you guys are here today joining us, and this property is a cool one. So, I'll hand over to John so he can show you the layout, and I'll take you on the video here.
Okay, beautiful. All right, yeah. So how we kind of like to start everything out is we'll give you a rough idea of the project. And so it's a 4-unit project in Buena Park, which is on the north side of Chicago. Um, and so as you can see, Deb's right there in the back of the property, and it's a 4-unit building. It was by right a 4-unit. It has a 4-unit on the first floor, second floor, and on the third floor, there's actually 2 units. And there's actually nothing happening in the basement. It's a blank slate. And I don't really think it quite has enough head height for a second or a 5th unit. And I think it's probably closer to like 6'3" or 6'4", and we need 7 feet for that. The scope of work here is it's pretty much what we consider a cosmetic renovation, meaning kitchens and baths, so everything in front of the walls, but plus we're doing all of the electrical, plumbing, and mechanicals, which was actually a change order for this job. And instead of actually taking all the drywall out, we're actually what we call trenching it and kind of doing selective demolition to get all the electrical and plumbing in. You'll see how that was done, and it's just a way to do a little bit more of the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing without having to do all of the drywall. So we'll show you that stuff. And then the financing type was actually a home style choice loan. And so that's a 5% down program. We've got some great partners, lenders, if you are looking for people to find to help you with your lending needs. And they do a great job. We love working with lenders, specifically Cross Country and Fairway are 2 of the ones we enjoy because they actually service their own loans in-house. And so it makes it a lot easier on the construction side, because then the same mortgage company that originated the loan is actually the one doing the construction draws. So I'm going to share my screen really quick to give you guys a little bit of an idea of where Dev is at, what the project looks like, and kind of get a better layout. And then I'll kind of go back and forth between Dev and the plans so that you guys have an idea on where he's at in the building and what exactly is going on. So I'm going to share my screen really quick so you guys can see it. And if you can just let me know that you can still see my screen, in the chat. That's super helpful. Sometimes, you know, the spotlighting thing is a little tricky. So if you can just confirm that you guys can also see my screen, that'd be helpful, or anyone. Uh, so yeah, we got a thumbs up from Constantine. Thank you very much, my friend. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna run through the layout really quick. So this is the basement. So on the top of each one of these proposed plans, I'll highlight it here. This is gonna be the existing, and the below is going to be the actual proposed. So always know that all the way through these plan sets, that this is the new layout. Up top is the old layout. So basement, as you can see, nothing really changing here. And then we're going to start on the first floor. And so I'm going to kind of guide you through where Dev is going to be at and what's going on there. So on the first floor, this was an existing condition. And so you can see it had a really small primary bedroom, which we actually opened up and took part of this dining room to make it a much bigger bedroom. And because the living room was so big already, that our client thought from an investment side that it'd make much more sense to have a much bigger bedroom. So you can see down here on the proposed plans that we actually built a new wall here. And so now you have a much bigger bedroom in here and a much bigger closet right here. And so then you also have the ensuite bathroom. And then so Dev's going to be coming into the back door here. This is an enclosed porch, and then he'll kind of be walking this way, looking at the kitchen and walk throughout the building. I'm going to go back to Dev so you guys can see where he's at. And then, yeah, if you can just confirm you guys can all see him. He's walking into the back door, and okay, perfect. Thank you, Caesar. I appreciate it. And yeah, if you have any questions while he's walking through, throw them into the chat right away. So that's walking into the back enclosed porch. And it's a little dark because we haven't got any lights on yet. We're actually, just to give you an idea where we're at in the project. So we just passed our plumbing inspection, pass it with some caveats. So there's a couple of things that came up that we got to fix. And so as you can see where Dev's at, you can see we've kind of trenched all of like the electrical conduit. Yeah, like he's pointing out there. And so that's a kitchen, a little bit smaller of a kitchen for this size of a unit, but moving all of that stuff would have been a pretty large cost at this point. The unit's roughly 1,800 square feet, and it's in the Buena Park area, which is kind of the north side of Chicago, near the lake, kind of up towards Rogers Park area. So yeah, if you want to keep on moving through so they can see the new bedroom and how that took shape with the new wall that we put in there. So it actually, this building actually had radiant heat at the beginning, and our client wasn't planning on doing it, but understanding that we were taking part so much of the property, it just made sense for him to switch to the individual furnaces. And plus, kind of on the long-term savings aspect, switching to individual heaters is going to be much more cost efficient for him as the investor along the way. Yeah, so Caesar had a question here. How long does it take for the inspector to come back out once you fix the plumbing issues? Dev, do you know how long, what's the timeline typically after we need to resubmit for inspection? How's all that look?
I would say plumbing and ventilation, refrigeration, which is your HVAC, and framing are pretty good. The city's on top of it. They ask for like an 8-day heads up, 8 business day heads up, and they do show up in 8 business days. Electrical is the one that's taking a lot longer. Same 8-day heads up required, but they usually come out like 3 weeks after, 3 or 4 weeks after. So
Yeah, and so these units here are 3-bed, 2 full bath. And so yeah, Devs, yeah, if you want to go take a peek in that bathroom real quick. just to show them. That's kind of the ensuite bathroom. It's still a standard 5x8 bathroom. So we do these, you know, on the regular, where we'll gut the entire bathroom on just a regular property that isn't a full gut. And usually the price range for something like that is between 10 and 12,000 for new bath, new toilet, new vanity, exhaust fan, can light. I'm gonna switch my screen really quick so you guys can see where Dev is heading. He's gonna head into the other 2 bedrooms real quick. And let me reshare. Okay, so we were just in here looking at this bathroom. He's gonna go back into this hallway and we'll look at the second bathroom for this unit and then check out the 2 bedrooms and then the front room, just so you kind of have an idea where he's at. All right. Yeah, so Veronica had a question. Is it 10 to 12K including plumbing? And yeah, that is correct. It wouldn't include any plumbing outside of that bathroom. So usually we don't touch any of like the copper behind the walls unless it's something we can fix. Okay, so yeah, Dev's looking at, so that's bedroom 2. You can see up above Dev's head, that's where we actually soffitted. We did the soffits for the furnace. So this was something that we had a change order for that we added on to. I don't know how far into the job we were, probably at least 2 months, would you say, Dev? And so we probably would have done a couple of things a little bit differently had we known we were doing the furnaces from the get-go. So the cost, Alice had a question about how much does it cost to set up the separate furnaces. So typically we budget about $15,000 per unit, and that's includes the furnace, a condenser, aka air conditioning, and all of the duct work. And it does obviously depend on the unit size. Like this one being 1,800 square feet, there's definitely quite a bit more duct work. And so this one might have been closer to 17,000. And the one other thing that we need to always account for when we're replacing furnaces or when we're installing new furnaces is because this specific project was already on radiant heat, we actually have the boiler down in the basement. And so we actually have to demo that out as well, which was another cost that we need to include in the change order for adding the furnaces. All right, you want to go up to the second unit now, or check out the living room now, Dev? Yeah, I know you're going to go through the back. So yeah, this is the front entrance of the first unit. It has a shared stairwell for the other 4 units. You can see in the ceiling as well how we still kind of selectively demoed out the ceiling to install the can lights, install the furnace or the duct work. And then you can see how we demoed out for all the conduit. It has a nice sunroom there as well. I'm a big reader, so I would love that sunroom. It's also east facing, so he'll probably get a really nice view of the sun as it's rising over Lake Michigan. And yeah, Dev, if you want to go up probably even to the 3rd floor, that because the 2nd floor is identical, that'll kind of save a little bit of time, and I'll kind of show the floor plan. So we had another question about asbestos. Yeah, we didn't have any asbestos on this particular project with the boiler. Typically, as he's asking, that's typically found wrapped around the boiler pipes as insulation. And so here's the second unit. My plan set. So you can see here it's completely identical. So that's why I had Dev go to the 3rd floor right away. But exact same type of concept where we're making the primary bedroom bigger. So you can see here again, this was the original primary bedroom. So we demoed out these walls here, demoed out this wall, and then made this a much bigger bedroom again. So going down here, this is the proposed, this is the new plans, how we're building it. So you can see again, much bigger, long closet, nice big bedroom, another closet over there. So you can see we still have the radiators drawn in the plans, which obviously these wouldn't have been in the plans had we known we were going to actually replace the furnaces. So here's the third floor, units 3 and 4. So you can see here originally, here's the original floor plan. I want to highlight so you can see. So the unit 3 is right here, and it actually goes like this. And this is a shared hallway, so technically it's here. So this is unit 3. And then up on top, this is unit 4. Oops. Let's see you guys have it standing. So obviously unit 3 is a little bit smaller than unit 4. The other cool thing I'll point out that Dev can kind of peek at right away. So the kitchen layout, obviously in unit 3 is identical to units 1 and 2. So it's just this kind of small U-shaped kitchen. The one cool thing I like that we did here in this unit though is this was kind of a unique space up here where there was tons of doors here for this bedroom. So you had a closet door here, you had a door here going into the bathroom, and then you had a door here. But what we did was we actually closed up this wall to make it easier. We actually put a pocket door here. You'll see it on the plans. Put a pocket door here, which basically means the door slides into the wall. So you can see here, this is what the pocket door looks like now. And then that's where Deb will kind of start. He'll show you the kitchen and then show you this pocket door. So yeah, this was a really good design idea, and will make the space flow much better, because with all those doors, it made it really hard to not open a door and hit another door. So I'm going to jump back to Dev. If you have any other questions, just continue to throw them in the chat. All right, there's Dev. Okay, so
I'll just start from the entry down.
Okay, you're gonna start from the entry. So entry of the smaller of the smaller unit, correct? Yeah.
Yep. The door leads right into the kitchen. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So you're still at the back. That's the kitchen. So Veronica had a question here about the time to pull permits in the city. So the city actually just came out with a new permit process. They used to have what was called the easy permit process. Now they have the express permit. I want to say process, but there's another P that goes in there. Express permit procedure. And basically, so with the express permit, the permits are actually getting done much quicker. And the cool thing about the express permit is you can actually do more work without architectural drawings. And so typically, if we go out to a project, we'll actually do the measurements and draw something up in CAD that can be submitted for these express permits. So with the new express permits, you can actually do plumbing work more extensively. You can replace furnaces, and I want to say that you can replace electrical panels, which were all things you couldn't have done previously. We actually just wrote a blog post recently about the express permit process, so happy to share that with you guys. We'll obviously give you our contact information after this. And so back to where Dev is at. Dev, if you want to go kind of where that pocket door is on that unit, so they can kind of see how that looks. So that is the pocket door right there. So you can see the door will actually slide into that area. And then if he goes in, now you'll walk directly into the bathroom, and which is all redone. So we still got to remove these radiators. So typical bathroom is always going to have a exhaust fan, a can light, a vanity light. You're going to have a supply for your air. Usually you're going to have obviously the vanity right there. You're going to have your toilet. You're going to have your tub. You're probably going to have a three switches on the wall. One switch for your vanity light, one switch for your can light, and one switch for your exhaust fan. And so, yeah, so that's the main bathroom ensuite. If he goes to his left here, you'll see this is the main bedroom for unit 3. It's obviously a little bit smaller. It's the same size that we would have had on units 1 and 2 had we not demoed out the wall and made it much larger. So you want to make your way to the front, Dev. And Dev, do you have any other thoughts or comments on this upper unit or anything in general you want to touch on?
Not much to add, just how like the architect did a really good job of like maximizing this potential that you have on the third floor here with these 2 units. And also like in the first and second floor with the primary bedroom, like having that like much larger bedroom is gonna be a huge sell for someone. Like I'm personally looking to rent myself right now. So I'm looking from that viewpoint, and having that sort of like a big bedroom would really be helpful for getting an ROI. So props to the architect for this.
All right, so he's in a living space. If you want to go to unit 4 now, you can take a peek through the stairwell so you can see how where the front entrance would come in. So yeah, that's the stairwell coming up from the front of the building. Now this is walking into unit 4. So yeah, really good question about making repairs to the drywall. I would you let Dev answer it. So Dev, the question was how hard is it to make the repairs using drywall when we're tying into the plaster walls? Because I know we're going through this on another project very extensively, and we've actually gotten a pretty good system and crew who handle it pretty well. But any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's extremely hard, I would say. I'll give you some examples here. You'll probably see you see almost like 3 layers here at this point, like 1, 2, 3. Like they're just and there's no like consistency, like when you open these walls up, like some walls will have 1 layer, some will have 2, some will have 3. It's a huge roadblock for electrical because the electrical inspectors always want these boxes and all the receptacle boxes, everything to be flush. So trenching is that's one of the biggest issues with trenching, I would say. And so it's definitely difficult. I think you just have to be prepared for having like a contingency for drywall. Like we can get you a number, but there's always like either like a plus minus differential here. So just being aware of your finances and having a contingency is like a good plan to avoid some headache, because you'll never know like the true cost without like starting drywall demo, which comes probably 2 or 3 months after the project has started. So
Yeah, and so Cedar was just asking if it has drywall over plaster. So yeah, in this where he was just looking where it had the 3 layers, it had a lath and plaster layer, and then it looks like it is a layer of drywall on top of that again. And so it gets really tricky because like we'll have our standard 5/8 inch drywall, and then we might have to come and put another 1/4 inch piece of drywall on top of that to get flush with the existing surface. And then same thing like Dev was touching on with those rings for the electrical boxes, we'll have to get rings that are 3/4 inches thick just to get flush with the drywall as well. So yeah, it's a little tricky. One of the things we've started doing now is like the idea of trenching definitely saves money for sure, but it obviously increases the drywall cost. And so what we've done is we started providing an allowance for the drywall and saying, hey, this is what we think it is, but it could end up being a little less or a little more. We do the same thing with all of our finished materials. And so we give all of our clients an allowance for like the faucets and the shower heads. And then if you want something that's more expensive than that allowance, then that cost is going to have to be incurred by our client. And if it's less, then of course, that money is going back to our client. So this is still unit 4. Dev's in the main living room. He's going to walk straight ahead and walk into the closet, or into the kitchen, excuse me. And so this kitchen is a little bit different than all of the other ones, obviously, because the other ones are identical. We're actually I'm gonna go back to the plans really quick so they can see the island that should be right in front of Dev where all that pile of our trash is. So as you guys can see here on the plans, here's where Dev is right here. So he just walked through this area, was looking directly in this way. And here's where the new island will be in this kitchen. It's still kind of a funky kitchen, how it's laid out. We have this existing radiator here. It might make sense to actually fill this in with cabinets as well. I don't know if we've determined this yet, but it's kind of an awkward space to have these type of diagonal cabinets, and because we have these windows here, it makes it a little more difficult. But yeah, so this is one of the nice, I mean, definitely a nicer one bed, one bath unit, same as unit 3. So both of these units are one bed, one bath, and they're actually like pretty good size. So roughly unit 4 would be, call it 1,000 square feet, and unit 3 would be roughly 800 square feet. So I'm gonna go back to depth so you can see where that island was. Okay, there we go. So yeah, right where Dev's, you can see the island is going to be. You can see how also those windows, if we were to put cabinets on that diagonal wall, they're going to be above the window, or we're going to have to resize the window. So it's more likely than not that we'll just leave that space empty just because we're working on a budget and trying to keep this under a certain amount for a client. Yeah, so same thing here. We have the soffits up above for the ductwork. He's at the bathroom here to the right. Boom. Taylor already just nailed what we need to do for the kitchen windows, is just put some benches under there, maybe some plants or something along these lines. Some people have some super creative ideas. We work with some really great interior designers, and so we can plug you guys in with some of our designers as well. So this is the bedroom for unit 4. Now, Dev, can you remind me, on the plans, it actually showed a wall that made this a hallway. Do you know, is this going to be left open still?
Yeah, that got changed by for the client's request. Essentially, this whole line, the door frame, just pick a straight line down here, was going to be a framed wall. So it was going to be a hallway, and then there's going to be a doorway here entering the bedroom. But I think the client just wanted more of an open space, I think. So we nixed the wall here. So there's no wall. It's just walk in from the bathroom, and it's just going to be this huge bedroom. No
Yeah,
hallway.
which I think is a really good idea. I mean, putting a hallway there really would have just made the bedroom smaller. So one of the questions was if the floors were sloped at all. Now, this was probably one of the few projects I've seen where they're some of the most level floors out there. This building itself is brick, and that usually makes a big difference, I've seen, and how level the rest of the building is. And so from a structural skeleton standpoint, this is probably one of the better buildings that we've worked on, to be honest. Deb, do you want to touch on any other kind of lessons learned, key points to the project so far?
I would say for sure getting the ducks in a row with the MEPs would be my suggestion. Kind of like Jonathan touched base a little bit earlier. Our client wasn't preparing to do or planning to do the HVAC, but obviously this is the best time you could do it. And so I think just getting that understood, like what the scope of work for the MEPs is going to be, and making sure everything's in order before we start work would be a little. It probably would have saved us a little time. But I think that would be my pain point that was for this project.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's always counterintuitive as an investor is, you're always trying to save as much money as possible, but one approach I've always taken is like I've always wanted to spend money on my mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, because those are the kind of larger capital expenditures that come up, and if you don't fix them when you're doing any type of renovation, it's always going to cost more further down the road. And what I've also found is on the repairs and maintenance side, if you decide not to do all the plumbing and that stuff, it's like you get lower water pressure, you have more clogged sinks and toilets. You're obviously paying for more water with the boiler if you don't switch to the boiler. And so, yeah, these are some of the things that I'm always pushing our clients to do, not because it helps us for business, but it actually helps them as the investor to spend more money and spend more money up front to save more money in the long term. Daryl had a question about what year the building was built. I don't know personally off the top of my head. I would be guessing in the 1930s or 40s. It's not those 100-year-old buildings, but probably 1930s or 40s, because it is up in that kind of north side of the city, and that I think was a little bit later than some of the kind of western neighborhoods, western and southern neighborhoods. Any other specific questions you guys have we can answer for you? Okay, well, a couple more questions here. So was the renovation loan taken at buying time or after closing? Yeah, so this was a renovation loan from the start. And so, yeah, there's two specific renovation loans that we work with a lot. One is the 203K, the other is the Home Choice Home Style. This particular one was the Home Style. What's really nice is the new Home Style is it's a 5% down program. And the loan limits are much higher. I actually don't even think there is any loan limits for these particular loans anymore. The 203K is still capped at a loan limit. And so they went from the beginning. Jen had a question: if the client keeps the boiler heat, do you ever use mini split systems for AC? And the answer is yes. Actually, at a project we have down in Bronzeville, we have mini splits going in. I'm gonna take Dev off the spotlight, and I know, and I'll spotlight myself so you guys can see me. But yeah, so we've done mini splits before many times. We actually have a project out in far northwest in Elgin. We're actually doing mini splits as well. Yeah, they're actually a little bit more expensive, to be honest, and it's sometimes you think you're going to be saving more money, but we're always pushing our clients to spend the money to switch to the furnace. The project total cost for this 4-unit is roughly 350, between 350 and 400. And this project was purchased quite about two months ago. So we've been moving very quickly on this. As soon as we purchased the property, we got in there and started a demo and actually got our permits about a month after, and have been pretty much moving forward as quickly as we can. The rough timeline is we should be done in about 5 months total. So coming up here before winter, we're for sure hoping to get done in kind of like the August-ish time frame. And yeah, I agree. This is one of the projects. It's really evident to us and our team that we've spent a lot of time putting systems and processes in place, which I actually didn't touch on earlier. So I can actually show you guys these now really quick, because these are some of the things that we've been doing to really help speed things up. So we obviously put together a full schedule on our project management software. And that's really helped. All of our subs are tied into this. And then we have daily reports that we submit to all of our clients, so you guys can see exactly what's happening on the projects. They typically include some pictures, let you know what we've done this week, let you know what's coming up. And then probably the thing that's been saving us more time than anything is getting ahead on all of our finishes. So at the beginning of every project, within the first 2 weeks of us signing a contract together, we put together a finishes and selection schedule and require this from you all to decide on what finishes you want, because there's things like the mixing valve for the shower that we need to know almost immediately before we're installing any plumbing. And so we've also worked with Home Depot and have some investor grade packages. We have a economical, a mid-range, and a high-range pre-selected packages. And so, yeah, this is some of the ways that we've really been able to speed our schedule up. Another thing is Dev actually performs a pre-drywall inspection. And so he'll go in with the plans, and it almost takes an entire day where we're going through the plans and making sure that the lights are in the right space in line with the vanity, making sure that all the can lights are in the right location, making sure that we have all the things necessary before we close up drywall. We've had a couple projects in the past where we were rushing too much because we feel pressured too often from our clients to move quicker. And we've found that when we can take a little bit of extra time, that it actually saves us a ton of time down the road. So a couple of days for this pre-drywall inspection has been amazing. And then it probably saves us 3 or 4 weeks down the road. If you guys still have any other questions, you can throw them in the chat. I'm so happy to answer questions. Otherwise, I got some QR codes up on the screen. So if you want to set up a consultation and talk more about a project you have, we're always happy to help talk real estate or talk about some specific projects. Like I said earlier, my name is Jonathan Clem. Our website's qualitybuilders.com, and we're on all the social channels at Quality Builders Inc. Caesar had another question here. This was a ballpark figure for the architectural drawings for a project. You're like, yeah, great question. So it's going to vary. Obviously, typically we would expect plans to be around the $7,000 to $10,000 range, maybe 11 or 12, depending on what systems are involved, and if there's any structural work. That's always something that's going to play a factor here, which in this case there wasn't any. Typically we have about, Taylor was asking how many projects we have going on at one time. Typically we have about 5 to 7 going at a time. We actually have 3 or 4 that are closing up and trying to get a couple more started, and then we were still taking on a couple more projects for Q3. And Veronica had a question: did you have any work in the stairwells? So the only work in those stairwells over at that 4-unit project were the electrical work. So we had to add new lights and switches out there. Any masonry work on the outside of the building? Yeah, so this is one of the best things, and one of the things I'm always looking for in my own personal investments is there was actually no work on the outside, and he wasn't doing any window work. And so I'm always looking for 2 types of investments in my investing space. One is a completely cosmetic renovation where I'm just doing kitchens, baths, flooring, paint, or a full renovation where I'm doing everything, because then it's a lot easier to control my costs that way when I'm doing things kind of in the middle, similar to this project where it's just easy for things to run over what we expect because we're working in an unknown. And when we continually add things, some of the hardest things to predict are the second and third consequences of changing work. So yeah, I'm always pushing people to have a crystal clear scope of work when they come to us. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out. I appreciate you all for jumping on this morning. And one last question: is the cost of your interior designer included with your quotes? It isn't currently. We're trying to actually figure out a way, because she worked with us on a project in River Forest, and it's actually turning out absolutely beautifully. And so we want to figure out a way to incorporate her in some way, just because she's also on the investment side as well, and she's done a really good job. So we're trying to figure out a way to integrate her into some of our project costs as well. I'll reset another question. Is there any special material need for the drywall? Yeah, so there's no special material for the drywall. The one thing we touched on earlier, I think, Reese, before you got there, is because the wall has different layers of drywall. So the one layer had lath, plaster, and drywall. We actually have to put multiple layers of drywall back. And so we obviously need longer screws is something we got to be mindful of, but the actual process is still the same of putting that drywall back in the ceiling. And it doesn't really matter if there's a tenant above or below. You know, some people want to use noise reducing insulation, and they actually have these channels you can put for the drywall. So you actually have a space between the drywall and your rafter, which actually reduces the sound as well. So, all right, y'all have a wonderful Saturday. Hopefully you guys can get out into the sun and enjoy it. Hopefully we can connect soon and work on a project. Thank you all for attending and have a wonderful day. We're going to sign off. Thank you. Take care. Bye.